So everything are particles, okay? Because waves are actually particles from one standpoint. We can reduce everything to a particle. So that we perceive reality by our six senses or awareness. That's how we know we're alive, okay? Because we can perceive color, sound, smell, taste, touch, thoughts. So there are the six senses stimulated by the six particles. And received by all this nerve, and the nerve looks like a root, of a plant. Okay? So, this is the diagram that generalizes how the human being perceives reality. We have our six particular stimulus, stimulating our six sensory faculties to give us six sensations. And through these six sensations, we have this awareness that we are alive and we are perceiving stimulus from the external world. Okay? Now, each of the senses undergo the following pathway. We have gone through in last lecture a very detailed discussion about how the neurochemistry, how the firing of the neurons, the dendrites, the electric current, and then connect to the next one, and so on and so forth. And then in between the synapse, that is the connection between one cell and another, is a gap called the synapse, and this synapse is cross-fired by the so-called neurotransmitter. So again, we know just about everything. We know about the neurochemistry, we know about the physics of the current, we went to the Harvard and look at how the electron fires down the action potential of the neuron, and all the sodium, potassium pump gate, and so on. So this is a review conceptually with the neurotransmitter. There's a chemicals and so on and so forth. So again, and then from the chemistry level, we're reduced to physics. We see how the electric current go down the wires of the nerves. Now, coming back to our perception, okay, we have the six senses, the six particular stimulus on the six sensory organs. Each of those six senses, okay, each of them undergo the same pathway of 5 steps. The first one is data entry. The second is called data reception. The third is data processing. The fourth is action, whether we react to that stimulus or not. And the fifth is we form a memory with that experience. Okay? One. So, to look at those 5 steps, data entry is the entry of the nervous impulse into the brain, and data reception is here. Here's a primary auditory center. For example, this is hearing. We hear something, okay? So the sound is, the neuron transmits the electrical signal and goes to here. There is a data reception, which is the primary auditory cortex, okay, here, and then it transmits into the data processing, and here is a speech recognition center. So you hear a sound, and then here the data processing tells you, oh, that sound is a language, okay, so it's speech. And then also here is action, number 4, how we react to that sound. Okay, is it a nice sound? Is it music, or is it a very irritating sound? People talking in a friendly or unfriendly tone. Okay, so that is how we react to that. So that, or whether we choose to listen to that sound or choose to ignore that sound. That's the action. And then finally, we form the memory, which is okay, so I heard that, I remember that, and so on and so forth. So hearing undergo all 5 steps, seeing undergo these 5 steps, smelling undergo these 5 steps, and it all involve the 5 processes. So in other words, this is a generalization of our perception of reality for human beings at least. We have our 6 sensory faculties stimulated by the 6 particles to give us 6 sensations. And each of these paths undergo the 5-step process. Okay? So, therefore, we have 6 times 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18 components. Okay? And each of the component go through these 5 steps. That means 18 times 5. Okay? So 18 times 5 is 90. Okay? So there are 90 places that can go wrong in our perception of reality. Okay? So for example, if the sound might be music to one's ear, might be irritating to another. The coffee maybe tastes good to one person, but my good friend there don't drink coffee. So and so on and so forth. So, is coffee good or bad, right? So there's 90 places in this process that inhibit us from perceiving the whole reality, because there are many, many places that can go wrong. Okay. So therefore, we have reviewed the shortcomings, inadequacies of the human perception. There's a lecture 2. And in conclusion, so with 90 places that can go wrong, this is how we perceive reality. The old story about 6 blind men trying to feel out the elephant. So one said the elephant is a spear when you touch the tusk, or another say it's a snake because it's feeling the trunk, or it's a tree feeling the leaf, or feeling the tail, it's a rope, or it's a wall, or it's a fan. Okay? So even if we are to take all these pictures into consideration, but because we take those information based on the description, the verbal description of these blind people, the best reality we can come up with is the elephant looks like this. Okay? So only a person with open eye can see what the elephant really look like. Okay? If you take other people's information, no matter how good their words are, how descriptive, how close to reality is, that's the best picture of reality you will come up with. Okay. So that means each of us will have to open our own eyes or become enlightened. Now, so in order to accommodate these various versions, believers, non-believers, atheists, theism, and so on and so forth, and be comfortable with, it reminds me of a story of a rabbi and his wife. So there was a rabbi, and besides preaching religion, he was also a very good family counselor. So there was a couple, with some marriage problem. So the wife goes to the rabbi and says, you know what? I really try and I do this and do that for him, but he's like this and that, So do you think I'm right, Rabbi? And the rabbi says, you're right. Then the wife go away happy. And the husband come to see the rabbi. Rabbi, I'm really having problem with my wife, and I try my best, I do this and do that, but then she's like this and like that. You think I'm right, Rabbi? The rabbi said, you're right. So after the husband left, the rabbi's wife came out from the bedroom and said, how can you tell the husband